Before you can begin drawing a tower or even coming up with ideas for a tower, we're going to understand how this tower actually works when it's being tested. We're testing it for strength, vertical strength. As you can see, this tower is built with 4 sides, and all sides are the same design. You'll have some options I'll discuss in just a moment. But as we put our test plate on top of the tower, you can see this will be attached to our structure tester, and the test plate will actually be pulling, or pushing I should say, compressing the tower in a downward motion. So the tower needs to provide the most vertical support and resistance as possible. Your choices of towers, you could either build one like this tower you see in front of you, and all 4 views have the same design, or your second choice is to make a tower like this one. And on this tower, you can see we colored this one red. This red side has one design here, and this blue side has a separate design. So you can build a tower with 2 different designs. When we say 2 different designs, this side right here, the red side, we'll build 2 of those views to be identical and assemble them opposite each other. The blue side as well. We'll build 2 of these designs and assemble those opposite each other. Either way, the testing theory is to try to design a tower to withstand as much pressure as possible. As we start out with our tower design, we first want to look at vertical supports and how vertical supports definitely need some backup or some other type of designs to incorporate. If we take these vertical supports and place them equally spaced around this object here, and we add weight on top of this, regardless of how many sticks we have, as you can see, stability is lacking. However, if we took a similar design and we incorporate diagonal lines in the form of triangles, the triangles also provide more stability. However, they're still susceptible to cracking or snapping in their midpoints here. So we want to take these larger areas and condense them and make them smaller so that we can provide more support in a smaller area. Let's start out by looking at this first design. As you can see, it has the rectangle shape, a line down the middle, which we call a line of symmetry. Symmetry means making things symmetrical or equal on both sides. This design is a good starting point. However, we want to take these larger areas and make them smaller so that these sticks are less likely to break in the center. Remember, we're adding weight, pushing straight down on top of the top of your structure. So one idea is to take these larger areas and make them smaller. So by adding these horizontal lines of support, the red arrows, by the way, indicate the direction that the tower will be collapsing or crushing. As you can see now, we've taken those long areas and then we've made them smaller. So now we're taking that small section here and we're able to add more bracing in. But the one thing that's missing here is our strongest shape, which are triangles. So there's several ways to add triangles in these designs. One way would be to add larger ones. Now, as you can see, we've taken the larger areas, we've made them smaller, we've added diagonal supports. Diagonal supports create our triangles. So we can take that basic idea from here to here. Another way we can do this is we can add a cross brace. Cross bracing looks like a giant letter X. But with this design here, as you can see the arrows pointing downward, this design is still most likely to break in any one of these spots here. This larger area needs to be made smaller. That's where your design ideas need to come into play. I have here an example of 2 different ways to create lines of symmetry. Your lines of symmetry, as defined, your drawing is made up of similar parts being equal on both sides to show balance within your design. So a line of symmetry on this tower right here, this design, is a line going down the middle, and that balances out both sides of that design. This structure here has a line of symmetry going horizontally across, and you can definitely mix and match the two as long as you know that whatever you do to one side of your design, you must make it equal to the other side to keep the overall design balanced. Here you see an example of horizontal lines of symmetry. I've drawn 4 different designs here, and as you can take a look at the first design, we have 4 equal parts divided up by lines of symmetry. So whatever I put into one quarter of my design, I will need to add that to the other 3 to make it look equal. These lines of symmetry on this design here incorporate a line of symmetry down the middle, and then I have a balance point at the top and a balance point at the bottom where maybe perhaps I can make a design inside of these 2 parts and make equal designs inside of these 2 parts. Regardless, the word compression, as you can tell, I always have to imagine this drawing being pushed down in this direction. If you look at the third design here, here's some ideas of what not to do. So what not to do, my line of symmetry is not centered. I have a larger space here and a smaller space here. If you look at my diagonal lines on here, notice the diagonal lines, they don't meet in any particular spot, okay? We want to try to make your diagonal lines meet in corners to brace for cross bracing. This line of symmetry here, if you can tell, lines of symmetry are off. This design here shows me when this design is being pushed down or compressed downward, you can see it's going to just tilt over and fall over to the side like an accordion. So here's some examples of what to do and what not to do for your lines of symmetry and your diagonal. Finally, you can see 4 different ideas here with a horizontal line of symmetry. I can cross brace, and notice my cross bracing. Finally, you'll see 4 designs here. And with those 4 designs, I have a horizontal line of symmetry in this design. Notice my cross bracing, the diagonal lines meet right in the corners where they're supposed to meet. So whatever I drew up here, I would have to draw it down here again. This design incorporates a horizontal line of symmetry with a triangle inside of it. This is a larger triangle, and even with this idea compressing downward, I would still need to support these areas around here, because the longer these beams are without support, the faster they're going to snap outward or inward. Here's another one with a line of symmetry down the center. I put a set of cross braces in one corner, so if I'm going to do it in this corner, I need to do it to all 4. We're talking about these boxes right here. Here's a final design with a large cross brace in it. However, this design is going to compress downward. As you can see, we have some spots here that need extra support. So take your larger areas and make them smaller. There's several ways you can add supports in here. Once you've made your final decision on which design you want to use, if you want to build 4 of the same, or whether you want to build 2 and 2, at the bottom of your sheet, circle your choice. You construct one tower with the same design and build that design 4 times, you would circle choice 1. If you want to do a tower using 2 different designs and build each design twice, then circle choice 2. When you have circled your choice, bring your drawing up to Mr. Trujillo, myself, and we will get you started on activity 4, drawing your final design to actual size.